What's up, chefs, foodies, and students? Welcome to Everybody Knows. I'm Anders. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Today we are talking about how we explore and experiment with food aromas, specifically the reasons for differences within a specific food. Have you ever gotten into a bag of clementines and you're like 10 deep and realize, whoa, this one tastes like a creamsicle, and the last one tasted like greener and more tart, maybe like a lime? Why is that? Let's take a quick look at some reasons for variety within one specific ingredient. First reason could be harvest time or ripeness. So if you harvest something before it's ripe and allow it to ripen off of the plant, it could affect the flavor. It could also affect the flavor depending on how ripe it is when you eat it. And so that's a whole variety of development, mostly in the plant, but some a little bit in the fungal world too. The second factor is maybe something we would call terroir or growing conditions that can affect so many things for so many ingredients. This could be true for seafood, animals, plants, fungus, whatever environment an organism is in will take in parts of that environment to the point that it can actually affect some of the chemical composition within that ingredient. And so we might be getting notes of some of the minerals or microbiological activity or weather effects from certain areas on the food that we actually eat. The third factor could be preparation method. So when you get into some of the extraordinarily specific techniques in certain cultures that they might either chop ingredients a certain way or mash them in one direction rather than another, or they might harvest one part of an animal differently than the other part of an animal, all of those minute differences can actually be a factor in the aroma of an ingredient. Another factor is storage or age of something. And this isn't always a bad thing. So if you think about how things are stored and how long they're stored, both of those can affect the aroma. Sometimes negatively, so if you store something in a container that's not food safe, it can impart some aroma onto the food. Otherwise, you could actually have storage be a good thing. A lot of cheeses, especially made in France, depend on the caves that they are aged in to actually get those exact aromas every time. And the longer some cheeses are aged, like Parmigiano Reggiano, the more intense are the flavors that come out of them, and some of those crystals of amino acids, I think. And last but not least, on our short list, we have the factor of genetic diversity. So you're eating two clementines, they might have come off of different trees that might just tend to produce clementines that taste more like creamsicles and clementines that taste more like limes, just because that's how that tree makes that fruit. It's possible. Let's have a quick look at our universal aroma wheel. Essentially, as this idea applies to the wheel, what it represents is the area beyond the edge of the wheel. Some of the ingredients or identifiers on the outer edge of the aroma wheel do have their own aroma wheels, but that is essentially what we're talking about. So when you begin to compare one mandarin orange to another, let's zoom in here, and you might say, this one that I thought was more like a creamsicle is kind of actually more tasting like a lychee, and this other one is more tasting like a lime. What we see is that we're actually going here from clementine outside of the wheel to a lime. And that's how we're describing it. Or we're going outside of the wheel down here to a lychee. And so with this happening, you would have gotten to a depth that requires going past the outer ring to reach those other ingredients or identifiers to talk about the differences within that one ingredient, like a clementine. And that's what has created some of these other aroma wheels that pre-existed this one, and that's why those are all centered on products. And that about wraps it up. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about the language and ideas that we covered here today, as well as the universal aroma wheel. Did my thinking and logic make sense to you? Why or why not? What ideas or questions do you have? I love your feedback. Please, any of the answers to those questions, leave them in the comments and I would love to read them. I hope this video made sense and got you thinking about why certain products are different and using the universal aroma wheel to describe them. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to be a part of the food aroma nerdery, please go ahead and subscribe and you'll see all my latest vids. And if you're interested in having a hard copy poster or digital version of the aroma wheel that I have created, there will be links in the description. Thanks so much. Bye.